Dan Perry back here with part 14 of our TCP/IP Basics series, deciding how to subnet. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how we decide how we're going to subnet a network and the range calculations of that network. Now, some things we need to know when we're making our decisions. Well, how many networks do we need? Do we need 2? Or do we need 10? Well, and if we need that many, how many hosts do we need? So you want to look at how many networks, what the biggest of those networks are, how many hosts they need, because all of our subnetting we're doing is in classful networks. When we subnet, all of our networks will be the same size, and that's going to limit our flexibility somewhat. So you do want to think about your network and subnetting before you start. Okay. For example, let's say that we need a network that has at least 8 networks that we can use in a Class C range. And we know none of those networks are going to have more than 10 machines on them. Well, if we were to borrow 3 bits, then that gives us 8 networks, but remember we lose 2, so only 6 are usable, so that won't work. Well, 4 bits, that gives us 16 networks with 14 usable. Okay, that meets the first condition. How many bits are left? We borrowed 4. We've got 4 left. That gives us 4 bits in the host portion, 16 total IP addresses. 14 of those IP addresses are usable. Well, our second condition's met. So in this case, borrowing 4 bits would work. Well, and another example. Say we need 4 networks in a Class C range, and none of those networks are going to have more than 25 machines or hosts in the network. We go back and we look again, borrowing 3 bits this time, that's 8 networks. We only need 4. Okay, that works. We've got 5 bits left in the host portion. With 5 bits, that's 32 IP addresses, 30 of which are usable, and now the second condition is met, so borrowing 3 bits will work in this example. Okay. Well, what if we need 2 networks in a Class C range with 25 hosts in each network? Well, there, borrowing 2 bits, 4 networks, 2 usable. Okay, we're good there. 6 bits left, that's 64 IP addresses. That's many more than the 25, so that would work. So we could borrow 2 bits. Now, if we borrowed 3 bits, that would also work in this example. Looking at the previous one, that gives us more than 2 usable networks with 30 hosts each, so we would be okay to borrow either 2 or 3. Well, what do you do in this case? Well, you look at how your network may grow, and based on what you expect any growth, you may choose to go with more networks and fewer hosts, or the fewer networks with more hosts. There are often more than one solution that will work, so that's when you look at what's going to be the best for your network. If we're going to grow in hosts, we want to choose a solution with the most hosts. If we're going to grow number of networks more, then the solution with more networks. Now, sometimes what you're given doesn't work. If I were given a Class C network for 5 networks with 40 hosts per network, I could not do that in a single Class C. Borrowing 3 bits gives us 6 networks, only 30 hosts per network. That won't work. Borrowing 2 bits, that gives us enough hosts but not enough networks. So for this case, we would need more than one Class C network in order to solve our needs. Next time we're going to look at how we do our subnetting.